Hi, I'm Tyler. Thanks for checking out this video on my install of a Inferno UTV heater on my 2021 Honda Pioneer 700-4. Hope you enjoy it. Well, we had our first hiccup. We're drilling out some rivets and it full on broke off my drill bit. I think I have some extras. I got the first portion of this done. Basically on the dash here, there had been a big warning placard, like metal thing riveted in there. So I drilled out the rivets on the metal placard, pulled it off, and then they have this black plastic panel that I riveted on then, and it had pilot holes drilled for all 6 of the rivets to go into the dash. And in the middle here, this is just a pilot cutout for what's going to be the on-off switch, and then these little pilot holes here are going to be for the defrost heater louvers. So I'll get a hole saw and cut holes in there for the louvers, and then the hosing will come in from the hood here, back up in there to where that panel is. So let's see how this part goes. Alright, so I got the rocker switch installed here. So basically it's going to be a middle is off, down is low, up is high. And it's pretty slick how this ties into the electrical. So actually down here below the dash, I don't know if you can see it so dark, but this is actually a cigarette lighter charging port right there. So it's directly below this panel. If you come under the hood here, you can see, well, it's kind of glaring, isn't it? So that gray connector right there, see if I can get the camera to focus. Gray connector right there is the back of the cigarette lighter, and basically they have a wiring harness where you unplug the cable from the back of that cigarette lighter and plug their harness in, and then plug the original cable into that harness, and it supplies power to both then. And no cutting wires or splicing or anything like that. And then up here, this white, this white plug here, that's part of that wiring harness, is what's going to power the actual heater, the blower. So anyway, the heater should mount right here somewhere. So we'll see what the next part of the instructions are. Part's complete. We have 4 vent louvers installed with the ducting. So basically, and up here you can see now we have the ducts. So these are the defrost ones, so they angle up at their windshield, and then down below, so the driver's side, we have one at the driver's feet and one at the passenger's feet. It was a little tricky, especially if you have a windshield installed already. You're going to have a second person. So Rachel came over and helped me attach them, because they're 2 parts. One attaches from the back, and one attaches from under the hood, and one attaches from inside the cab, and they kind of screw together. But you can see here we got different vent hoses coming out here. So 4 of them. Another one kind of hidden back in here. So now we just have to get the blower unit installed, and basically the way this works is we have the 4 holes for the vent ducting that we just looked at, and then the electric connector there for the blower, and then these 2 little guys are actually for coolant lines. So the antifreeze and the for the side-by-side, actually we splice into that and run the hot coolant through this to get heat. So basically we've got a coolant line there, and it came with some more coolant line and connectors, and then also I ended up buying some extra coolant because with the extra line we're going to need to add a little bit. Definitely starting to come together here. Got the hoses hooked up to the blower, and the blower mounted onto the frame with these self-tapping bolts here. So I drilled a 1/8 inch pilot hole, and then got those screwed in. So it's all connected up except for the oil cooler lines. And reading the directions on there, basically they are located under the passenger seat of this Honda Pioneer 700. See if I can find my flashlight and point out what is going to happen next. But basically this hose right here, it's kind of hard to point at, but basically goes from the oil cooler into the engine, and we're going to have 2 hoses coming out of the heater, and they're basically going to replace that one hose. So one of the heater hoses is going to plug in right here into the oil cooler, and the other one's going to plug into the engine block there. So the trick is trying to do it quickly so we don't lose a whole bunch of coolant, and so I don't have to replace a whole bunch of it because I only bought 1 carton. Alright, I think it's installed. So we got our 2 lines here. So this guy right here and that guy right there. Just a little bit of coolant loss there, kind of dribbled down, but that shouldn't be too big of an issue. So the only thing now that we have to do is check the coolant level, and probably add a little bit of coolant, and then run the machine. And for the first few times that we run it, we're going to have to check the coolant because there's going to be some air that gets purged from the system, and as that happens, the coolant level is going to drop some more. So over the next few days I'll just keep checking it and adding a little bit at a time. So gonna do that and then fire it up and see how this heater works. So for the coolant, we're actually going to be using Polaris antifreeze. There's not a Honda dealer anywhere near me, so I was able to grab some Polaris stuff at the local Polaris Yamaha dealer. Basically what Honda says is to make sure that it's a 50-50 ethylene glycol mix. It's for aluminum block engines, and that's what this is, so should be fine. As far as how much coolant we lost, looks like we're just under the minimum line. Shouldn't need too much. Okay, moment of truth. Let's get this thing started, see what happens. Well, it started. Seems to be running. That's a good sign, I suppose. Alright. Let's see here. Let's get this heater going. Alright, we got air blowing out of here. It's not hot yet, obviously. The engine needs some time to heat up. Just making sure I've got air coming out down here by my feet. Keep our feet nice and warm. So Inferno Heater says that you gotta drive it for a few minutes and put it under a good load, get everything, all the fluids flowing, and try to work some of that air out. So I'm gonna take it for a quick spin. All right, so I've been driving for a grand total of about 30 seconds and the heater's already warming up nice. So definitely need to get back and get the doors on our side-by-side so we can stay nice and toasty warm for the winter time. Well, Big O and I just drove it for about 20 minutes after the heater install here, and it is kicking out a lot of heat. You guys, it's in the 20s right now up here on the mountain, and we don't have the doors on our UTV yet, but you can definitely feel the heat coming off of it. So far, very impressed with this heater. Again, it's an Inferno brand heaters. I'll tag them in this video if anyone is looking for something. But yep, so far so good.